Imagine living in a world where the rules are absolute and breaking them means losing everything. To outsiders, the Amish seem simple, humble lives, horse-drawn buggies, and quiet prayers. But beneath that silence lies a world built on control. Here, justice isn't decided in a courtroom, and speaking out isn't just discouraged, it's punished. Crimes are hidden, victims are silenced. And the outside world, they never hear a word. What happens when a community polices itself and no one's watching? The culture of silence. Imagine being surrounded by people who have raised you, loved you, and shaped your entire world only to wake up one day and find that, to them, you no longer exist. This is the brutal reality of Meidung, the Amish practice of shunning. It's not just a punishment, it's complete erasure. For Misty Griffin, this silence was suffocating. As a child, she endured horrific abuse, but when she tried to speak out, the response was chilling, stay quiet or lose everything. The elders made it clear. Reporting the crime would mean being cast out, alone, with no way back. Trapped in a world where the church's word was law, Misty had nowhere to turn. Shunning isn't just social isolation, it's psychological exile. Families refuse to speak to the shunned. Friends pretend they no longer exist. And without modern connections, no phones, no internet, no outside support, where could they go? Most never escape. This culture of silence is why the truth about Amish communities remains hidden. When fear replaces justice, secrets are buried deep, and those who dare to expose them disappear in more ways than one. How the Amish silence whistleblowers? Imagine waking up one day and realizing you no longer exist, not legally, not socially, not even to your own family. This is the brutal reality of Meidung or Amish shunning, a practice designed to silence and control. Once someone is shunned, they become an outcast, cut off from their loved ones, their home, and the only world they've ever known. The Amish believe that shunning is a form of discipline, a way to pressure those who step out of line into submission. A shunned person is ignored, not spoken to, and completely erased from the community. They cannot work with Amish employers, attend church, or even sit at the same table as their family. Seeking legal help is not an option. Doing so is seen as betraying their faith. Many end up homeless, jobless, and emotionally shattered. Emma Gingerich knows this pain firsthand. Raised in a strict Amish household, she dared to question the rules. She wanted education, freedom, and a life beyond what the church allowed. When she finally escaped, her entire family severed ties. She had no identification, no financial support, and no idea how to survive in the modern world. The emotional impact was devastating. The people she loved treated her as if she had died. She struggled with loneliness, depression, and the overwhelming guilt ingrained in her since birth. But she fought back, writing her story in Runaway Amish Girl, The Great Escape, exposing the psychological toll of Amish shunning. For many who leave, the trauma lasts a lifetime. They are left haunted, forced to choose between freedom and family, knowing that once they walk away, there is no going back. Child abuse behind closed doors. In Amish communities where tradition rules over modern law, even the most horrifying crimes are often met with silence. Child abuse isn't just a hidden issue, it's a secret many are forced to carry for life. Victims are taught that true faith means forgiveness, not justice. Reporting abuse? That's betrayal. Seeking help from outsiders? That's unthinkable. Take the shocking 2020 Missouri case. Two Amish brothers repeatedly molested their younger sister, yet instead of ensuring justice, the community tried to cover it up. When the case finally reached authorities, the brothers received shockingly light sentence as probation instead of prison. Why? Because their attorney argued that the Amish handle things differently. This isn't an isolated incident. Victims are pressured to stay silent, to forgive their abusers as a test of faith. But what happens when forgiveness becomes a weapon? When silence allows abuse to continue? The world outside rarely sees these crimes, and when it does, justice is often out of reach. For many Amish children, suffering stays hidden, buried under the weight of tradition, fear, and a system designed to protect the guilty rather than the innocent. Arranged marriages and forced silence Imagine being 16, dreaming of the future until one day you're told who you will marry. No choice, no questions, no escape. In the Amish world, girls don't date, don't fall in love, and don't get to say no. Marriage isn't a choice, it's a duty. From childhood, Amish girls are raised to obey. The church dictates their lives, ensuring that by 16 or 17 they are married off. A girl's role is to submit, serve, and bear children. Divorce? It's unheard of. No matter the circumstances, she is bound for life. If a husband is abusive, unfaithful, or cruel, she must endure. Seeking help outside the community is seen as betrayal, and those who try are silenced. Take the chilling case of a young Amish girl in 2011. She refused to marry the man chosen for her, daring to challenge tradition. The punishment was swift shunning. Her own family turned away. Friends ignored her. She became a ghost in her own home, erased from the only life she had ever known. Alone, without education or support, survival outside the Amish world was impossible. Faced with no options, she was forced to submit. The emotional toll is devastating. Many of these girls are trapped in loveless marriages, raising children they never planned for, with husbands they never wanted. They suffer in silence, crushed under centuries of unyielding tradition. Their dreams, their voices, their freedom gone. In the Amish church, a woman's right to say no simply does not exist. Genetic disorders they don't talk about. The Amish community is built on strict traditions, one of which is marrying within their own faith. This practice has led to generations of inbreeding, where limited genetic diversity causes severe health consequences. While the Amish rarely discuss it, their isolation has resulted in a hidden medical crisis zone that outsiders seldom hear about. One of the most well-documented disorders in Amish children is Ellis Van Creveld syndrome. This rare genetic condition leads to short stature, extra fingers or toes, heart defects, and developmental delays. The reason it is so common among the Amish is due to the founder effect. Most Amish families today descend from a small group of settlers, meaning harmful genetic mutations are passed down through generations with no new genetic diversity to dilute them. But here's where it gets even more concerning. These conditions often go untreated. Seeking external medical help is discouraged in many Amish communities, as their beliefs emphasize faith healing and traditional remedies over modern medicine. Many rely on home births, midwives, and prayer rather than doctors. Even when a child is born with a severe disorder, the family may hide the condition, fearing judgment from their community or interference from the outside world. The consequences are devastating. Without proper medical intervention, children born with these disorders often face lifelong disabilities or early death. And yet, the cycle continues unspoken, unseen, and unchallenged. The dark side of Amish midwifery: babies at risk. For most Amish women, hospitals are not an option. Instead of seeking modern medical care, they rely on home births assisted by traditional midwives, often unlicensed and lacking formal medical training. While this practice is rooted in religious beliefs and a desire to remain separate from the modern world, it comes with deadly consequences leading to high infant and maternal mortality rates that remain hidden from the public eye. Unlike hospital births, where complications can be quickly addressed, Amish home births rely on natural labor with little to no medical intervention. If something goes wrong, midwives may hesitate to call for outside help, fearing community backlash or refusal from the family. Many Amish women forgo prenatal checkups, leading to undiagnosed high-risk pregnancies where both mother and child are left vulnerable. A tragic case from 2018 highlights these dangers. An Amish woman developed a severe infection after childbirth, a condition that would have been treatable with antibiotics. However, she refused to go to the hospital, choosing instead to rely on herbal remedies and prayer. Within days, her condition worsened, and by the time her family considered medical help, it was too late. She died at home, leaving behind a newborn who would never know their mother. This case is not unique. Many Amish women die silently, their deaths unreported or misclassified as natural causes. Yet behind closed doors, the truth is evident: the rejection of modern medicine is costing lives. Stories of those who escaped, Leaving the Amish community is not just about walking away, it's about losing everything. For those who dare to escape, the outside world is both a promise of freedom and a terrifying unknown. Many ex-Amish individuals have shared harrowing stories of abuse, forced obedience, and the brutal consequences of defying the church. Misty Griffin. Misty Griffin was raised in an ultra-strict Amish household where questioning authority was met with severe punishment. From a young age, she endured horrific abuse, yet was forced to remain silent. When she tried to speak out, she was told that Amish crimes must be handled within the community, never reported to outsiders. At just 19, Misty was informed she would be married off to a man decades older. Desperate, she escaped to the modern world, only to realize how unprepared she was, had never used a phone, seen a computer, or even spoken freely. Emma Gingerich. Unlike Misty, Emma Gingerich didn't flee due to abuse. She left because she wanted more. She dreamed of education, independence, and a life beyond rigid Amish traditions. But leaving came at a devastating cost. Her family completely shunned her. The people she loved vanished overnight, refusing to speak to her ever again. The emotional toll was crippling as she struggled to navigate a world she had never been allowed to know. For ex-Amish individuals, escaping is only the beginning. They face threats, emotional blackmail, and total isolation. Many are left battling guilt, PTSD, and the scars of a life they were never meant to leave behind. Their stories are a chilling reminder freedom comes at a price. Amish and modern slavery. Behind the idyllic image of Amish communities lies a harsh reality, a hidden system of forced labor. From a young age, Amish children, especially girls and minors, are pushed into unpaid labor, working long hours in farms, workshops, and factories with no rights or protections. The Amish way of life is deeply rooted in self-sufficiency, but this also means their children are expected to contribute from a very young age, often at the cost of their education and personal freedom. No workers' rights, no education. Unlike mainstream society, where child labor laws protect minors, the Amish circumvent these protections under the pretense of religious freedom. Amish children are forced to leave school after the 8th grade, cutting off any chance at higher education. Instead of pursuing dreams or careers, they are expected to work for their families, often under harsh conditions. Girls are assigned to household labor, quilting, and farming, while boys are placed in wood shops, blacksmithing, and commercial trade without wages, contracts, or legal protections. Many of these children spend their days performing strenuous tasks, sometimes under dangerous conditions, without the opportunity to seek help or legal recourse. The furniture industry's dark secret, Amish craftsmanship, is highly valued, particularly in the furniture industry of Pennsylvania and Ohio. But behind these beautifully crafted wooden pieces lies a troubling reality. Many Amish businesses rely on child labor. Reports have surfaced of underage boys working dangerous jobs in sawmills, using heavy machinery without proper safety measures. Since the Amish avoid government interference, labor laws are rarely enforced, allowing these practices to continue unchecked. Some Amish-run workshops have even been investigated for violating labor laws, yet penalties remain minimal, and the cycle continues. For Amish women and children, labor is not a choice, it is an expectation. They are born into a system that denies them freedom, forcing them to work without questioning authority. Those who resist face shunning, punishment, or worse. For many, the idea of escape is impossible, as leaving means severing ties with family, community, and the only life they've ever known. While the outside world sees the Amish as a simple, peaceful people, the truth is far more complex. Beneath the surface lies a workforce that has no voice, no rights, and no escape. The Amish way of life is often romanticized as simple and peaceful, but behind the image of horse-drawn buggies and old-fashioned values lies a system built on silence, obedience, and fear. The strict control of the Amish church doesn't just shape their daily lives, it ensures that crimes, abuse, and injustice remain hidden. Those who suffer are forced into silence, and those who dare to speak out are cast away, left to rebuild their lives with nothing. But this is more than just a religious issue. It is a systematic cover-up where tradition is used as a weapon to protect offenders while victims suffer in the shadows. The world may look at the Amish as a peaceful, isolated group, but the truth is isolation can be dangerous when it hides wrongdoing. At what point does faith stop being a way of life and start becoming a prison? When does obedience turn into oppression? These are the uncomfortable questions we must ask because silence, in the end, only serves those who wish to keep the truth buried.